Hello, BookTube. Well, doesn't this feel like all's right with the world? It's one thing to be making videos after an absence, but it's another thing to be making videos on the fainting couch with the bean. That feels like a homecoming, doesn't it, baby? Oh. This feels very nice. Uh, and the other element to being on the fainting couch making videos in my proper place with Superman right there and the bean right there is a mail haul. And I have a mail haul that I want to go through here, but it's a problem. It really is. Mail is becoming a problem. The year is very young. The month is halfway done. Even so, I can tell that mail is becoming a problem. There have been a number of mail hauls just in January so far that I have made and then had to erase, because one book or another infuriated me to the point where I was just fulminating about it for 20 minutes, and then I would recover myself and go back to the rest of the books. And I don't edit my videos, and you can't redo opening a package. So, after every one of those videos that I edited, that I just got rid of, after every one of those, when I was thinking about it, I thought, well, I can't do that. I can't publish that, because we live in an incredibly censorious age, and your opinions on subject X, Y, or Z are forbidden. There are opinions you cannot have. There are things you cannot say. It seems to me, I know it's a very old person thing to claim, but it seems to me that the number of those things is only growing. And it's not a question anymore, as it was even 4 years ago when we were doing mail hauls. If I opened a book, read a pub sheet, and disagreed with every single detail of the pub sheet, I would just go off on a nice rant. I would enjoy myself, you would enjoy it, and that would be that. I don't think it affected at all how many of you may have considered buying the book. I made it clear, as I always have, that it's the pub sheet that was bothering me. I hadn't read the book yet. Even a few years ago, I could have done that and wouldn't have thought anything of it. I would have posted that video and thought nothing of it. But there are vengeful, angry ideologues out there now who will take the fact that you don't agree with the latest terminology, the latest pronoun usage, the latest false view of American or international history. They'll take the fact that you don't agree with that as a starter pistol to relentlessly attack you in person, attack your personal life, get you fired, get you demonetized, get you deplatformed, get you visited, attacked, firebombed in person. It's far more vengeful atmosphere for such videos. And the surprises that occasion those rants are happening more often. So I'm starting to feel, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm starting to feel like I should probably phase out live mail hauls where I'm actually opening the package on camera. I know that has a visceral thrill for me and you, but it increases the likelihood that I will be caught by surprise. Whereas if I open a batch of books ahead of time, I can weed out the ones that are by ideological lunatics, where I cannot possibly talk about the book because you're going to want me to talk about it in your terms. I don't say Holy Bible, I say Bible. I don't say Prophet Muhammad, I say Muhammad, or the warlord Muhammad. I don't like coercive language. And I don't agree with people who say, oh, it's just words. What difference does it make to you? It's not hurting you. It's just a courtesy. It's not just a courtesy to use words that subscribe to your worldview when your worldview has no proof. So it's coercive. It always has been. It has nothing to do with any modern political movements. It always has been. It's the Bible. It's not the Holy Bible. It's the church. It's not Holy Mother Church. It's Muhammad. It's not the Prophet Muhammad. I'm not going to use coerced language then or now. And encountering it gets my goat up. And as you know, if you watch this channel, I'm not really the shy, retiring type. I don't bite my tongue. It's only the surprise element that makes those a problem. If I knew ahead of time what they were, I would simply remove them. I wouldn't talk about them at all. So I'm going to use this little mail haul here as a test. I'm not being peremptory here. I'll make a few tests. We've been doing mail hauls a long time on this channel the same way. It's been a lot of fun. I don't want to delete anything like that. I'm not deleting videos, of course, but I mean delete a feature. I don't want to cancel a feature like that uh, blithely. So I'll do a few test runs to see whether or not I can navigate this and still preserve the thrill of opening these packages on camera. So let's see what we have. We've got a few packages here. Let's see what we have here and see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do this. Oh, all right. Well, this first one's not going to be a problem. Do we have a pub sheet here? No. Oh my. Fantastic. We saw the advanced copy of this. I cannot praise it highly enough. This is a new translation of Hermann Hesse's novel, The Steppenwolf, from the folks at W.W. Norton. This is translated by Kurt Beals, and I guess this little thing is our translator. He's a tiny little elf of a thing. I did not know that. Associate Professor of German at Washington University in St. Louis. And he has previously translated Jenny Erpenbeck, Rainer Stock, Regina Ullmann, and Anja Utler. So extremely, I didn't know that, and I didn't know what the author looked like, but an extremely established translator. And Steppenwolf is a cult novel. I bet a lot of you read it in its earlier American translation. I bet a lot of you are picturing the same paperback that I am. And this new translation is just amazing. It's just so good. This I don't have a sheet on it. This comes out in who we have. Oh, okay, all right. This is blurbed by Doreen Densky at New York University. It's blurbed by Martin Puchner, the author of Language of Thieves, and it's blurbed by me. Look at that, hardcover blurb, very nice. So if you want a copy of Hermann Hesse's The Steppenwolf, you now know what copy to get. You want the hardcover with just the right blurb. Very nice. Okay, well, we're off to a fine start. This experiment is off to a fine start. The bean is bored, but that's because she's never taken the trouble to learn how to read. Let's see what this next one is. Very, very light. Oh, my. Oh, how lovely. All right, this is a new Penguin Classic. Those of you who are new to the channel, I get Penguins in the mail. I get Penguin Classics in the mail. I'm very happy about that. I'm a lifelong Penguin Classic fan. This is by David Haynes, and this is Right by My Side. That is pretty distinctive. Who do we have to thank for that cover? Tommy Mitchell is the cover artist there. And this is the 30th anniversary edition of the 1980s coming-of-age story about a black teenager, family love and obligation, and the everyday struggles of growing up. So this is a 30-year-old book that's been inducted into the Penguin Classics. They've been taking editorial risks like this for the last 10 years or so, often to my delight. I don't know that I read Right by My Side when it came out 30 years ago. With wit and realism, David Haynes presents 15-year-old Marshall Field Finney, an ordinary teenager who discovers storytelling as a way to ease his adolescence anger and family tensions. Marshall portrays those in his life with sly humor and underlying compassion. Rose, his mother, who leaves them but remains a distinct presence. His father, Big Sam, a flawed yet strong man who manages the local landfill. And his two best friends, one black and one white, as they navigate school and life together as chosen family. Set outside St. Louis, Missouri, Right by My Side reveals Marshall confronting lessons about friendship, love, home, history, and inheritance. Okay, so somebody at Penguin Classics thought this deserved to be in the Penguin Classic line. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what that's like. Of course, the first thing I'm going to do, it's possible that I most certainly have seen this thing in bookstores. It's possible that I've read it. I doubt it. That description does not sound familiar. But I'll know for certain when I see the cover. The first thing I'm going to do is a Google image search for the cover of what this looked like in the 1980s. When did this come out? Oh, it's a portrait of life in the 1980s. It actually came out in 1993. Oh. Okay, so I not only saw this in bookstores, I sold it in bookstores. Okay. All right, well, I want to know what it looks like, but that's fantastic. A new Penguin in the mail, always a cause for joy. And we're 2 books in without a problem, without a disaster of any kind. That's good. Very good. This is how it's been, I think, 3 mail videos that I've just had to get rid of. I've just had to get rid of them. Okay, let's keep going. This comes out in June. Again, no pub sheet. This is The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. The Whispers. So, once again, we're getting really nice American cover designs. I don't really know what's going on here. I'm losing one of my favorite rants to go on. This is a compulsive page-turner about 4 families whose lives are changed when the unthinkable happens, and about what is lost when we give in to our own worst impulses. Is one of them Mary Deb? Talk about worst impulses. On Harlow Street, a well-to-do neighbor couples and their children gather for a barbecue as the summer winds down. Everything is fabulous until Whitney, the picture-perfect hostess, explodes in fury because her son disobeys her. Everyone at the party hears her exquisite veneer crack, loud and clear. Before long, that same young boy falls from his bedside window in the middle of the night. Oh my God, I am totally hooked. Oh my God. And then his mother can only sit by her son's hospital bed where his life hangs in the balance. Did she push him though? Over the course of the tense 3 days, the women of the neighborhood grapple with what led to that horrible night. People-pleasing Blair, Whitney's best friend, suspects something isn't as it seems. Blair and I are on the same page there. Rebecca, the ER doctor who helped save Whitney's son, has struggled to have a child of her own. And the all-knowing Mara, the older woman next door, watches everyone's world unravel from her front porch. Okay, I'm on board completely. Now, see? One of the problems that I have with these mail hauls is that I make the mistake of reading the author bio. 2 of the 3 times that I've had to delete a video, it's been because I made the mistake of reading the author's bio and being pulled into the author's miasma of delusion and irreality. So instead of doing that, I'm going to parse through the author's bio for the important bits. So is this a debut novel? It's the first thing I want to know. No. Ashley Audrain's first debut novel was The Push, which was a New York Times bestseller. This is her second book. And that's all I need to know. That's all anybody needs to know. Oh, God. What a drama. So this comes out in June. I am absolutely on board. I don't trust that mother as far as I can throw her. Anyway. Or as far as she can throw her son. Let's see what this next one is. Okay, there's at least paperwork in this one. That's good. I was feeling a little lonely. Oh, gross. The paperwork is an influence. How disgusting. People buy books. Who knew? Let's see here. Oh, but I also have a paper for this. Okay, good. All right. So we're having a success so far. Who knew that these mail hauls were going to become suddenly purity tests? But very much they are. The new fascist censorious state's purity test. How much of my claims about reality are you going to subscribe to? And I'm carefully watching. Because it's not a question anymore of you allowing me to live and have as many rights and freedoms as I want. You have to agree with me. So we're doing fine. We're navigating just fine so far. What is this? What have we got here? So this comes out in April. This is The People Who Report More Stress, a collection of short stories by Alejandro Varela. The People Who Report More Stress is a collection of interconnected short stories brimming with anxieties of people who retreat into themselves while living in the margins, acutely aware of the stresses that modern life takes upon the body and the body politic. In Midtown West Side Story, Alvaro, a restaurant worker struggling to support his family, begins selling high-end designer clothes to his co-workers, friends and neighbors, and restaurant regulars in preparation for a move to the suburbs. The Man in 512 tracks Manny, the childcare worker for a Swedish family, as he observes the comings and goings of an affluent co-op building, all the while teaching the children Spanish through Selena's music catalog. Comrades follows a queer man with radical politics who just ended a long-term relationship and is now on the hunt for a life partner. With little tolerance for political moderates, his series of speed dates devolve into awkward confrontations that leave him wondering if his approach is the correct one. Okay. A collection of humorous, sexy, highly neurotic tales about parenting, long-term relationships, systemic interpersonal racism, let's move on, and class conflict from the author of The Town of Babylon. So this is not the author's debut. I wonder if The Town of Babylon was the author's debut. But in order to learn that, I have to read the author's bio. And that's dangerous. That is flat out dangerous. So again, let us pick carefully through the writer's bio. New York. Point Magazine, Boston Review, Harper's, Split Lip, the Georgia Review, the Rumpus, the Brooklyn Rail, the Offing, and the New Republic, and other publications. Workshops. So ridiculous, but nevertheless, I'm not going to delete this video. Apogee Journal. Graduate Studies in Public Health. Interesting, not literature. Very interesting. First novel, Town of Babylon. So Town of Babylon was his debut, and it was a finalist for the National Book Award. Varela believes strongly in... Oh, no, you don't. No, I'm done. I've learned. We gleaned as much as we need to know. Great. Fantastic. You have a long writing career behind you. May you have a long writing career in front of you. Oh, man. All right. The people who report more stress. And I will never know, because I'm done with this video, I'm taking scissors to that pub sheet. I will never know what Alejandro Varela believes strongly in. I will never know. So... Great, let's move on. Let's move on to this last one. Oh, that was a narrow escape. Let's go to this last one here. It's a finished copy of something. Oh, fantastic. All right, well, those of you who watch the Brothers Gwynn here on BookTube will have seen their videos, their mentions of this book. They have talked about it endlessly, but so have a lot of other booktubers. I just like their channel. And now it's here in America. Fantastic. This is Essex Dogs by Dan Jones. The U.S. publisher very wisely chose to keep this very good, very stark, and basic cover design. And this is by the haughty historian Dan Jones. But this is historical fiction about a group of warriors who go over to England. July 1346. Still no pub sheet with this thing. The 100 Years' War has begun, and King Edward and his lords are on the march through France. But this war belongs to the men on the ground. Swept up in the bloody chaos, a tight-knit company from Essex must stay alive long enough to see their home again. With sword, axe, and longbow, the Essex Dogs will fight from the landing beaches of Normandy to the blood-soaked fields of Crécy. And then the pub sheet describes the various members of the Essex Dogs. And I have an ebook of this. I've had an ebook of this for some time, and it's a humdinger of a book. It really is. I am already well accustomed and kind of a fan of historians crossing the line and writing fiction. Because, as I've said many times on this channel, if you don't bring some of those skills to writing your history, you're a bad historian. I don't care how many credentials you have. You're a bad historian if your history doesn't read well. If it isn't interesting, fascinating, gripping even. So I'm not averse to that at all, whether it's Alison Weir or Carolee Erickson or anybody else. That if you're someone who makes your living in history and you decide to write a novel, I'm all for it. I will judge both equally, but I'm very much a fan of the bleed through of the writing assumptions in both of those. I want there to be a porous border between those two things, which is not to cheapen history, and it's also not to stultify fiction. I want instead them to assume the best qualities of each other. Then this does. This is a humdinger of a historical novel. Glad to have an actual print copy. I will certainly review this. I don't remember when it comes out because I don't have a pub sheet for it, but I'll be going into this a little more grounded than usual because I've read it already. But anyway, that was a safe mail haul. We had Alejandro gave us one close call, but otherwise this was a safe mail haul. Thank God I don't have to delete this. So we have Dan Jones, Essex Dogs, finally making its appearance in England or in America after a pretty strong reception in England. It wasn't just the Brothers Gwynn who went nuts about this thing, and it is bound to be filmed somewhere. I'm sure the film rights have already been sold for a bundle of money. But it is bound to be filmed. And who knows, the film might be really good. Might even be a series. And it starts with the invasion of the beaches of Normandy, with the Essex Dogs actually storming the beaches of Normandy in their primitive, vessel with French arrows hailing down on them. Very much meant to be a callback to the storming the beaches of Normandy in, for instance, Band of Brothers. or Saving Private Ryan, something like that, where you are very much in the viewpoint of a small group of men who are trying hard not to get picked off before they can get to ground. Uh, just a bravura opening, but then it goes on from there. Ordinarily with, Band of Buddy stuff like this, whether it's Predator or anything else, I just don't give two hoots about any of the men because I am clearly supposed to. That's why I think has stopped me from falling in love with the fiction of Joe Abercrombie. Is I am clearly supposed to, and so I don't. I want you to make me feel that way. I don't want you to sort of wait for me to. Unlike with a lot of those, I actually did like the camaraderie in this book. So very happy to have a physical copy. Then we have The People Who Report More Stress, a collection of short stories by a writer whose debut novel was a finalist for a major award. Then we have The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. What actually happened to little Joffrey? How did he actually fall from that window? Then we have Right by My Side by David Haynes, an unconventional Penguin Classic choice, a 1990s novel. Unconventional, but who knows? Might be worth it. There are plenty of novels from 1990 that I would put in Penguin Classic line. I'm assuming that they have a bunch of true believers on the editorial staff who probably feel the same way. One or more of them must feel the same way about this book. And often when people feel that way about a classic from some decade, they're right. Or at least if I don't end up loving it as much as they do, I certainly end up seeing what they saw in it. So can't wait. And don't have to wait. And then, of course, The Steppenwolf in a new translation with a great cover blurb that you do not have to wait for the paperback. You can get the proper edition of The Steppenwolf right there in hardcover. so there you go. Phew. It was a minefield mail haul that we navigated successfully. So if this was a trial, it's gone well. So I will make another trial next time. Maybe the solution here is not to get rid of live mail openings. Maybe the solution is just for me to be hyper aware, hyper cautious. Or simply not to read author biographies. Maybe that's where I get into most of the trouble. We'll see. We'll work it out together in the course of the year as we do everything. So I'll wrap this up. I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.